Wind turbines, the so-called green solution, are vandalizing Australia's countryside. These towering eyesores are not only inefficient, but also a blight on our natural landscapes, causing deforestation, displacing wildlife, and delivering less than promised. It's time we exposed the dirty truth behind this renewable energy math. Deforestation and wildlife displacement caused by wind turbines. We all know that EV enthusiasts love to flaunt their so-called green credentials. They drive their silent, shiny cars, basking in the glow of their perceived environmental sainthood, but let's peel back the shiny veneer of their eco-friendly world, shall we? It's time we talk about the real cost of their so-called renewable energy sources, like those towering wind turbines that are littering Australia's once pristine countryside. First off, these monstrous wind turbines aren't the dainty, harmless giants the green movement wants us to believe they are. To set up these massive structures, vast swaths of land are cleared. Trees, which have been around for decades, maybe even centuries, are cut down without a second thought. This deforestation is a slap in the face to our natural landscape, leaving barren patches where once there were thriving ecosystems. And for what? To make more room for gigantic metal structures that supposedly save the planet? And let's not forget about the wildlife either. Australia's countryside is home to countless species, many of which are already vulnerable. These animals are getting the short end of the stick here. Their habitats are being destroyed, forcing them to flee, often to areas where survival is harder. And here's the kicker. The materials used to build these turbines are far from green. They're made from steel, fiberglass, and other materials that require significant energy to produce, often involving fossil fuels. So while they're marketed as a cleaner alternative, their production leaves a hefty carbon footprint. Now, let's bring this back to our friends, the EV drivers. They plug their cars into chargers powered by these wind turbines, thinking they're riding on a wave of clean energy, but every charge comes at the cost of deforestation and wildlife displacement. The very energy that powers their green cars is tainted with environmental destruction. It's a cycle of hypocrisy that is hard to ignore. In reality, EV owners are not saving the planet. They're part of a system that's vandalizing our countryside and displacing wildlife under the guise of sustainability. It's time we wake up and see these wind turbines for what they really are. Not symbols of green energy, but icons of environmental damage. More wind turbines. 3D modeling has revealed plans for over 3,000 wind turbines across Australia's countryside. As if that's not already a nightmare, they're saying we'll need to triple that number to 9,000 just to produce enough energy. Let's dig into this madness and see what it all really means. First off, think about what those numbers actually represent. Over 3,000 wind turbines already spell disaster for our landscapes. Picture mile after mile of towering metal giants where there used to be rolling hills and vibrant forests. Now imagine that number tripling to 9,000. The sheer scale of environmental destruction is staggering. To make way for these wind farms, vast areas of land will be stripped of trees. We're talking about massive deforestation, and not just a few trees here and there. Entire forests will be razed, leaving behind barren, lifeless ground. And what about the wildlife that calls those forests home? They'll be forced out, their habitats destroyed in the name of green energy. Species that are already struggling will face even greater challenges, all because we need more wind turbines to power our so-called eco-friendly future. By the time we hit 9,000 wind turbines, the environmental cost will be astronomical. The countryside will be unrecognizable and countless animals will be left without homes. And all for what? So EV owners can pat themselves on the back and pretend like they're making a difference. Rapid approvals of wind farms by the government. Ever notice how quickly these wind farms are popping up in Australia? It's like someone snapped their fingers and boom, there's another one. The government's been fast-tracking these wind farm approvals with barely any public consultation. It's like they're in a rush to cover the countryside with turbines, and they don't really care what anyone thinks about it. First off, let's talk about these rapid approvals. Normally, projects of this scale go through a rigorous process, right? There should be environmental impact assessments, community consultations, and a whole lot of debate to make sure everything's above board. But it seems like the government's tossing all that out the window in a mad dash to meet their renewable energy targets. The result? Wind farms are being approved left and right, with little regard for the people who actually live in these areas or the long-term environmental impacts. Imagine waking up one day to find out that a massive wind farm is going up near your home. No one asked for your opinion, no one explained how it might affect your property, your community, or hey, the local wildlife. It's just happening. whether you like it or not. That's the reality for many Australians right now, as the government prioritizes quick approvals over thorough consultation. Now, let's tie this back to our favorite topic, EVs. The drivers of these electric cars love to think that they're on the cutting edge of a green revolution. They plug in their cars, feeling all virtuous about reducing emissions. But what they might not realize is that the electricity powering their vehicles is coming from these hastily approved wind farms. Wind farms that are causing deforestation, displacing wildlife, and being shoved down the throats of communities without proper consultation. This rapid-fire approval process is just another layer of hypocrisy in the green energy narrative. The government is so focused on meeting renewable energy targets that they're willing to sacrifice proper procedures and environmental integrity. They're pushing through these wind farms at an alarming rate, creating a facade of progress while ignoring the real, on-the-ground consequences. Nuclear power is more efficient. So let's shift gears and talk about nuclear power. A much maligned, but definitely incredibly efficient and environmentally friendly alternative to wind energy. While wind turbines have been touted as the champions of green energy, the reality is far less rosy. In contrast, nuclear power offers a far more sustainable solution, with a host of benefits that wind energies simply can't match. First, let's talk efficiency. Wind turbines, as we've discussed, are highly dependent on weather conditions. They only produce energy when the wind is blowing at just the right speed. This inconsistency means they often underperform, failing to provide the reliable power grid stability we need. In contrast, nuclear power plants operate at a consistent high capacity. They produce a massive amount of energy from a relatively small amount of fuel, providing a stable and reliable energy source 24/7. This reliability is crucial for meeting our energy needs without the unpredictable fluctuations that come with wind power. Now, consider the lifespan and waste production. Wind turbines need to be replaced every 20 years, creating a continuous cycle of manufacturing, installation, and disposal. The materials required for this process, that being steel, fiberglass, and rare earth metals, are not only environmentally costly to produce, but also create significant waste when the turbines reach the end of their short lifespans. Nuclear power plants, on the other hand, have much longer operational lives, often exceeding 40 years with proper maintenance. While they do produce nuclear waste, the volume is relatively small, and advancements in waste management and storage have made it safer than ever. Environmental impact is another critical point. Wind farms require vast tracts of land, leading to deforestation and habitat disruption. The construction and maintenance of these sites can have devastating effects on local wildlife and ecosystems. Nuclear power plants, however, require far less land to generate the same amount of energy. This compact footprint means less disruption to natural habitats and more efficient use of space. The number one concern is always safety when it comes to nuclear power. But modern technology has made significant strides in this area. Newer reactor designs incorporate multiple layers of safety measures to prevent accidents. The nuclear industry has one of the most rigorous safety protocols, and incidents are exceedingly rare compared to the environmental damage regularly caused by fossil fuels and even the material demands of renewable technologies like wind. Furthermore, nuclear power is a zero-emission energy source. It doesn't release greenhouse gases during operation, making it a potent tool in the fight against climate change, while the production of wind turbines involves significant emissions, particularly in mining and manufacturing. Nuclear energy offers a cleaner, more sustainable path forward. For EV enthusiasts, this means that if they were truly committed to reducing their carbon footprint, they should be advocating for nuclear power. The electricity generated from nuclear plants is cleaner and more reliable, making it a far better partner for electric vehicles than the inconsistent and environmentally costly wind turbines. While wind energy has its place in the renewable landscape, it is not the panacea it is often made out to be. Nuclear power, with its high efficiency, long lifespan, smaller environmental footprint, and consistent energy output, presents a more viable and less environmentally damaging alternative. It's time we looked past the misconceptions and embraced nuclear energy as a crucial part of our sustainable future. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel so that you can see more videos like this.